They said they wanted power.
Oh, awesome.
Zapa, Zakalush, Kalamatskalo.
Welcome to Guru Talks.
Guru? What do they do, like levitate and chill on mountaintops?
Not exactly, but you are in the right place to find out everything you need to know, and it's actually quite simple. I am your host, Florian Boschi, and I will be going extra deep with Guru Bhaneswaranand each and every show. We are covering deep truths about relationships, success in business, world peace, and many other topics. Oh, and of course, enlightenment. Because our Guru, well, he is enlightened. Welcome. This is episode number 15 of our podcast, Guru Talks. Guru Bhaneswaranand, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How are you this week?
Ve-
How are you today?
Very nice. This week also and today also.
You just came back from Nigeria, as I understand.
Yes.
And did some work there for people.
Oh, yes. It was very nice and people were nice. They were a little aggressive, but they were all very nice people.
Okay, well, Nigeria is known that people are being emotional, right? Or stern, I guess.
They are, they are emotional, they are aggressive, but I think they were very nice to me.
Very good. Well, wherever you go, I have seen people are always pretty much very nice to you, so far at least. You're not so sure.
Yes, I have not experienced any adversity anywhere in the world, and specifically in Nigeria also, it was all very, very, very nice.
Very good, very good. So today's topic, let's just jump in right away, is all about masculine energy, men in the world, the male principle, and the challenges and advantages of being a man, the disadvantages of being a man, the problems and challenges that come with it. Maybe let's start off by just asking you this simple question. Guru Bhaneswaranand, what is male energy? Or where is the seat of the male energy system? Where does it come from? What is it about?
In my opinion, as regards to book is concerned,
Sorry, which book are you talking about? The Art of Loving, the book you wrote?
yes,
Okay.
we have not tried to classify there as male energy and female energy. What you want to probably ask me the question, why is the male energy more aggressive than female? Is it the question?
I was going to get to that a little bit later, but first I wanted to understand. See, I mean, the universe it seems like it's split in masculine and feminine, even in the animal kingdom. You know, those two seem prevalent. There is a masculine and a feminine. Why is that even? And what is the purpose and the quality of male energy?
Maybe to necessitate the creation and to run the creation, nature has created masculine and feminine. They are opposite in nature and therefore they attract each other. And because of this immense attraction between masculine and feminine energy, the creation goes on. And therefore, it is necessary to have male as well as female energy.
Let's say so. Yeah, okay. So, what are the distinct qualities of the masculine energy, and why do you think it is that way?
You see, the basic quality in the male energy is to protect, and that is what I think females likes, and they are always aggressive to outside world to protect their family, to protect their country, to protect their tribe, to protect from all the dangers, to their family. And that is the basic necessity and basic male energy which I think you are talking about. Their way of loving is different compared to the way of loving of the female energy. Their way of protecting is also different. Protection by love is the female energy, and protection by aggression is the male energy. And both of them were necessary. I would like to tell here in the system or in the society, they are like right wheel and left wheel. So if we say that wheel is more important than right wheel, it is not the correct things. Both of the things, both of the energies are equally important for the family, for the children. And therefore, when I was describing about the children, how should they be taken care of for making them the nice human being of the future, I have always said that they should be taken care of by father and mother both, so that the care of male energy and the care of female energy both is available to them.
Okay. So, so you were saying before that opposites attract, right? And that's why, there are certain qualities that women like in men, and there are certain qualities that men like in women. However, I have also spoken to you before about similar topics, and at some point you have told me that people who have the same qualities are attracted to each other, right? So, when you look at the example of the two wheels, the reason why they get along so well is because they're exactly the same. And I do understand from, maybe you have already answered this in your last question, that these opposites need to be there for a family unit. One protects through love, one protects through war, and that both is necessary for survival, or maybe was in the past. But from an attraction perspective, there are very few areas in a human's life that bring more pleasure, but also that bring more pain, disaster, separation, divorces, heartaches. So wouldn't it be easier if God had just created both genders the same, just one with a penis, one with a vagina, but on an emotional and level and on a level of, our way of being exactly the same? Wouldn't that be much easier?
Look, in a way, every human being is same, and our thought patterns are a little different. Because if you become the same, you will not be likable to each other. If you become same, and suppose the whole creation could have been say same, then you must have not enjoyed it. Diversities are always good in arts. Diversities are always very pleasant in life, in creation, in everything. And therefore, enjoy the diversities. Do not expect everybody to be the same.
Okay, very good. So, is there a difference energetically between a man and a woman? Meaning, does the base force of a man come from a different or the same place in the body as the base force of a woman comes from?
Yes, you see, chakras and everything in the men and women are same. So base force also comes from the same place. They are in essential things, they are both same. Depending upon the training and everything, uh, they become different. Otherwise, by and large, males and females has got no difference. The basic difference is that males are little protectorate compared to female who are little more loving.
So you're saying that the base energy is the same and that all these differences only come from conditioning? There is no emotional difference per se that is given from birth?
Number one, physiologically, yes, males and females are different. Their physical structure is different. Their way of looking to things are little different. But yes, by and large, women and men, there is no difference. And if you train them nicely to both of them together, they will grow into a nice human being together. And I don't see any difference between these two.
So just to, to maybe roll out an example here. So, when you look at basic sex hormones like estrogen, for example, and testosterone, I mean, it has been shown in research 100 times over that when men exceed a certain level of testosterone in their body, they will automatically become more aggressive, right? So, they will be maybe more protective, as you say. They will be more aggressive. They will, maybe see an enemy in another man easier, who maybe wants to take away their woman or his woman. Things like that become more prevalent when the physiology changes. Like if you were to give a woman testosterone, she would start showing similar emotional behavior. If you inject estrogen into a man, the same thing will be happening. The man will become more woman-like in his emotions, maybe become more caring, more loving, more sentimental. Who knows? Those are all, very well-known emotional effects of simple physiology, hormones. So I'm just saying this because it seems to maybe contradict a little bit what you just said, or does it not?
It does not at all. You see, number one, I have told that physiologically they are little different. Of course, you whatever explanation you are giving is physiologically. Men are jealous. You say you are right. Men are jealous. But if you say that women are not jealous, you are not right.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's the reaction that's different. You see, the man will maybe stand up and go over to the guy and push him against the chest if he has too much testosterone, and be like, hey, leave my woman alone, right? A woman will never do this. She will not
Be-
react this way
You
because
see,
her hormones are
the
different, right?
yeah, that part I have already, I think, told that they want to solve most of the problems with love. So they will say, okay, I will love my man so much that he remains mine. Maybe males, they want to solve the problems with aggression. And we have been taught also like that you are male, you are a man. You see, the day we are born, our training starts in a different way. If you are a male, your parents starts behaving in a different way with you, and if you are a female, your parents starts behaving in different way. So your training of aggression starts from day one. Oh, you are a boy, you are not supposed to cry. So all these things plays a very important role when you grow up, and you definitely take to aggression to solve your problems than women who takes love to solve their problems. Rest both the emotions, what emotions are present in the men are also present in women.
Okay, I see. I guess I need to ask clearer because my question was really in reference to your statement that, mostly those emotional patterns are conditioned, right? And I guess I was just thinking that if you take a woman and you start, for example, somebody who changes their gender, right? a woman who wants to become a man, and she will now start injecting testosterone, start growing body hair, her breasts will become smaller, etc., etc. But another very well observed reaction is that she will start feeling more aggression, which shows me that not all of this is conditioned, but there is at least an aspect, and I don't think it's a small one, that is physiological. And I'm not trying to oppose you. I'm just trying to argue the point because, from medical research, we understand that hormones make a huge difference in how a person feels. And that's what I wanted you to comment on.
I agree with you. We have always said that men and women are different physiologically. Okay, so if men thinks you start injecting in women, women will start becoming more men. That is perfectly all right. Physiologically, there are difference. Emotionally, also there is a little difference between male energy and female energy. But emotionally, I want to tell you that all of us, irrespective of genders, feels similar emotions. Some are not probably showing it, and some are little aggressive to tell it to others, but they feel similar emotions.
Okay. So you're saying that the aspect that is different is in actuality a really small part.
Physiological, yes. I mean, if you uh, uh, cut the male part out from the male and fit a female part, of course, slowly she will start becoming female.
Okay. So, there is a saying that's a very famous one that says that, if there were no men in the world, there would not be any wars at all. Do you feel like that's a true statement? And if yes, can you comment more on this?
Number one, I don't think it is a true statement. Men has fought mostly because of their women. It is now, I mean, when you are defeated or when you do something different, it can be said differently. But most of the wars has happened because of the wealth, because of the women, because of the three W's they call, and
What's that? Wealth, woman, and what's the other one?
wealth, women, and another W is there. If I remember, I tell you, and definitely not wine. Huh?
Wine.
No, 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 it is not wine.
Wealth, woman, and religion.
No, no, not religion. But you see, uh, wars were because of people, a society, they wanted to possess something, they wanted to get something, and they have fought among each other. Uh, it's only men or the society as a whole, it's a question of debate. And I think when war takes place, every citizen gets involved directly or indirectly. They they support their soldiers, they support by paying nice taxes, they support emotionally, they support medically, they support, and then only war can happen. And let us not say it gender specific.
So go Bhaneswaranand, it seems like there is a school of thought in archaeology that claims that about 10,000 years ago and maybe way before that, there were periods of time where there were no wars. So, and there is also people who think that that is because there were matriarchal societies around the world during those times. And so from what you're saying, this is probably not a viable theory from where you stand. Or am I wrong with that statement?
Number one, I don't know this research. We have to be very specific what research says. Then I can probably answer this hypothetical question. But in my eyes, as wars are as old as humanity is, they were always there because the root cause for the war are exploitation, root cause for war are needs, wanting to have more and all that. And these positive or negative qualities were present in the human being always. And for these things, they always tend to fight. Sometimes they were small because they live in small groups, and sometimes they became big because the countries became big, the weapons became different, and because of that, harm was more or less. But there was no time in the humanity when they were not fighting. We always try to divide the society for our benefits, which should be avoided. It is definitely not nice. It is nice in the opinions and in the eyes of the rulers. Here again, I say that we try to divide society into several things. You are Austrian, I'm German, you are this, I'm that, you come from Asia, I come from Europe, and you are black, I'm white, because we we want to rule, and it is only possible probably when you divide. Now the latest division of this 500-600 years is you are a woman and I am a man. The reality is that this division is because of the vested interest of somebody. Otherwise, you are a human, I'm a human, and I and you put together is one society, one family unit, one country, and one world. This whole universe is a global village. Without dividing, all of us should live in peace and harmony. That is the need of the hours. Men and women are saying.
Okay. It's not the feeling you get when you get involved in discussions on Facebook, I have to say. I'll give you an example. I was actually posting a post for Gurudam of one of your quotes a while ago, and it was something on the line that men who beat women, it's usually because they are not able to sexually fulfill their woman, and then they resort to violence. Now, I thought this was a beautiful quote and very revealing and very telling, and I'm still appreciative that you said it. However, I got, I guess, condemned is the right word, by several women for posting this, and I was labeled a chauvinist at different points. And my intent was none of that kind. It was not my intent, and I do apologize, and I did apologize for giving that impression. But what it showed me is that society is overly sensitized to gender related statements. It's like there is a wound, and the moment you say the wrong thing or it goes a little bit into the wrong direction, it's like you're pouring salt on that wound, and there is an uproar as a response, usually a scream. And you can always tell when there is a topic, where people are wounded. It used to be the gay community for a long time. I'm not sure, I'm sure it still exists, but I feel like that this arena kind of like calmed down a little bit. There is more acceptance now. It's of course still not where it should be. But a similar thing is happening with the feminine movement, with femininity, with freedom of self-expression, which it seems like women felt or feel like they haven't had for thousands of years. So if you're saying we're the same, that's a beautiful message. But how can we actually get there, get to the point where we all feel like we are the same? Because right now we don't. We don't feel like we have the same rights. We don't feel like, we are free. We can be free with each other. And I'm generalizing, of course. I'm sure that's not in every family, in every couple, but it seems to be a tendency. And I have talked to you about this before. With those posts, I came back to you and I showed you and I asked you why these responses. And so I know you're aware of it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there are two things. Number one, I think I have already explained at several points that it is because of the exploitation. And number two, a very important and sensitive things which no one dares to touch is I live in a certain way. Okay. My way of living, I always call that it is superior to all the ways of living of the universe. And therefore, every religion claims that they are superior to all other religions present in the universe. Every society claims that they are the best. They don't they don't wait, they don't recognize what others say about them. They claim by themselves that they are the best. And the moment they hear something which does not fit in their way of thinking or their way of living, they get disturbed. And this is a big problem of the society. Uh, we need to educate ourselves that as the citizen of the universe, we are all one. Otherwise, this always remains irrespective of genders, irrespective of uh, countries, creeds, races, and is irrespective of men and women.
Okay, I understand your second point. Now, when just to return back to the first point for a second, you said the first point is exploitation. I would like to talk about this a little bit more because, from what I understand, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're saying that, or are you saying that men have exploited women and that would be possible through their superior physical strengths, and through that advantage they have been able to, or have a tendency to exploit them? Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to put again it's gender specific, but yes,
Well, I mean, we're talking about genders, right?
all powerful creatures try to exploit those who are less powerful than them. Here, the power was physical power, and therefore, yes, some males try to exploit the situation and exploit their female counterpart, and which is not good. We need to learn not to exploit. But this still remains in our society that the more powerful person tries to exploit the less powerful. It is not only genders, there had been many cases where elder sister has exploited the brother. Okay, so it is not really gender specific, but yes, you are right. Most of the cases, it it becomes that male has exploited female, and which we should find a way out not to do it.
So let me just ask you this in a different way. If women were physically more powerful than men, would there be a matriarchy with exploitation of men, and there would be a masculine movement, and men would roar out because they feel suppressed?
There are masculine movements also, maybe small in numbers, but it has started. You see, By making movements, you have to understand that any exploitation, it is not only men women exploitation, you exploit children. A male exploits male children sometimes, female exploits female children, and many females also exploit their female children. Emotional exploitation, physical exploitation, and all that. It's not gender specific only. It exists in the human being, and we need to find a way out to remove it from our society, to remove it from our families, from our countries, and live peacefully.
Okay. So, you know, you were saying there are masculine movements too. I think it's very funny because
Funny. I think you can look at the internet, you will find some masculine movements also.
yeah, you do, and you know, it has especially been lately with all this talk about exploitation of women, and you know, the sacred feminine is being celebrated so much. However, the sacred masculine is being celebrated very rarely, right? In fact, you say yourself that on the one hand you say men and women are equal, but on the other hand you say women are much better and you prefer them personally. You know, men have to eat a lot of crap in the last 2 decades for who they are, for their aggression, for their, you know, so-called propensity to make war, for their you know, hurt that they caused women, and so on and so on and so on. And you know, I have seen men change and try to become more feminine to please their feminine partners, and then that usually doesn't work either because they don't really like that on some level. They're not attracted to it. But you know, I've seen a lot of changes in our society that are going on because of this, you know, this gender debate that has been going on. And almost as being a man myself, I feel sometimes a little bit like, you know, it's almost like feeling a little bit castrated to be able to be yourself, like almost like you're not be allowed to be yourself as a man, but you have to now abide by, you know, by a different set of rules because you have been evil in the past to women and all your ancestors have been evil. And that in itself is also not an easy thing for men. And I think it's something that we deal with as men in this newly evolving society.
I think I agree with you. Again, I try to tell that we need to live naturally as we are. We are attractive to our counterpart as a natural human being. Male likes females and female likes male. It's very natural and it happens. Now they like each other, but they don't admit it. That is ridiculous, but it it is there in the society that we like each other, and it's a beautiful thing that a man likes a woman and a woman likes a man. There is nothing wrong in it. It's a very beautiful thing, but they don't usually admit it. They and then what happens that individuals start thinking that if I change and become like a woman, and woman starts thinking that if I change and become like a man, maybe I'm liked more, which is not the correct thing. We don't need to change. We need to accept what we are, and I think everyone starts liking you.
So it seems like, and I don't know how true this is. I mean, you were just saying that, you know, this has nothing to do with gender roles. It has only to do with exploitation. So men has been more powerful in the past and they have acted upon that, right? So women weren't able to vote. Women weren't, you know, didn't have any rights. They weren't able to work. Even they had to stay at home. You know, there was probably lots of abuse going on. You know, like if another country invades, if a country invades another country and they win, what they will usually do is, you know, or did in the past was to, you know, rape and impregnate all the women there. So there has been lots of violence, you know, going on against women. Now, Is there some kind of a guilt that men experience over that? Is there some kind of uh, an inability to know what to do with themselves now that things are changing and that everything is becoming equal? Is that a problem, you think? Or are men? Do you see men being flexible in that way and adjusting easily, or what are the emotional problems in this process?
I don't think there is any problem. We are evolving to be better human being every day, and it is a good thing. We are evolving to live in society in a better way every day, and it is a good thing. Uh, you see, whenever war has happened, I think from each one of us perceptions, we have suffered. Men has also suffered. They were killed. Invaders has come. They have uh, they had not been gentle. They had not been nice to those specific countries which were defeated, and it was definitely not good. Society has sat down and made few reforms on prisoners of war, on how military should behave with civilians, and all those things are going on. They are going on very nicely and in the right direction. Maybe we have not achieved perfection as yet, but in time to come, you be certain that we as a human being will attain perfection.
So, is there some kind of an insecurity among men as they are transitioning into a different format of living? Would you say? Is that a challenge at all for men in our societies?
I don't think it exists unless it exists in one or two people's mind. I don't know, but by and large, I think I do not feel myself any insecure, and most of the people are like me and they don't feel any insecure. One or two, you see, this is a society and it's an artistic things, and maybe some of us feels little different, but by and large majority, I think they try to live natural. They try to please their women, specifically men if you are talking about. They try to protect them. They try to live with them, try to make them happy. And I don't think they are insecure about anything.
Well, I'm glad to hear that as a man. So you're saying men have good intentions and they're trying to please the women, and maybe they're not always successful with it though, because there are troubles. So my question is, if to the men out there, what would be your advice? How do we make women happy?
So, very nice question. I think love them. It's not only how to make a woman happy, it's how to make your partner happy.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's true both ways. Love is something which overcomes everything if you really have it. And if you love your woman nicely, that is what they need, that is what they want. And if there is no problem in your love, all other problems both the partners can solve together. She helps and she becomes one with you, and together you face the challenges and you overcome them.
When you speak about love, I'm always careful because there's two kinds of love that you describe, but you're using the same term for them. And one is the kind of love that is basically based on fulfilling our own desires. And then there's another kind of love, which is more of an enlightened love, which is not really something we extend to a specific person, but it's more like a way of being, something that we're radiating into the world. So when you speak about love them as an advice, what are you actually talking about?
I'm not talking here the spiritual love, but here, whatever your love definition is, whatever you think will make your partner happy, do that. If you can do the spiritual love, there is nothing like it, then the whole universe will be happy with you. Why your partner alone? But if you cannot do that, at least love your partner. Be honest to him or her. Be speak about whatever the shortcomings, difficulties you are facing together. Do not try to hide things. Do not try to hide your physical abilities also. If you are not able to satisfy your partner sexually, meet a doctor, meet somebody who could help you spiritually, meet somebody who can give you the tantric art of making love or something like that. You have solution for all the problems, but if you hide your problems you will have no solutions. And if you are if both the partners are honest to each other, there is no reason they will not be happy.
So interesting thing you wrote in your book, The Art of Loving, which was a little bit controversial, or we heard it from some people that it was a little bit controversial, is this whole idea of women wanting to be led and men wanting to lead. And we have discussed this before, I think, enough. But the reason why I bring it up now is, again, what's your advice for a man on how to be, how do you lead correctly? See, I know that leading is often misunderstood with controlling, and I know that's not what you mean.
No, leading is not controlling. You see, protecting the family, protecting your female counterpart, trying to understand her need and fulfilling them. Leader is one who takes care of their tribes. Leader is one who takes care of their people. They are different than administrator. They are different than managers. They are never. They are truthful. They try to understand the need of the family, the need of their counterpart, and try to adhere to it. They are always happy and try to make others happy.
So what does a leader do who feels depressed to be always happy?
What a man does, not a leader. Leader, why should the leader be depressed? But what a man, when you are depressed, speak to it. There is no problem for which you and your counterpart together cannot find the solution of. Therefore, whatever problem you have, discuss. The basic problems with the men and women relationships are that we try to project what we are not, so that my counterparts will get an impression about me, be impressive, and love me, which is not truth. You see, truth is that whatever you are, tell it. And I think every person, irrespective of what they are, they like honesty. And if we are honest to ourselves, honest to yourself, then you will be honest to the other person. And if honesty is there with you, I think most of the problems are automatically solved.
So it's actually a common topic that that I've heard women say that, or that women often complain about with men, is that they say that men don't want to talk. They want to speak about this and that and their emotions, and men often don't want to do it. So what's your advice there?
Talk. I always say talk and discuss. Have communication. Communication is the best way of solving all of the problems. And to my female counterparts, to I would also like to advise them not to feel disturbed. Take take your male counterpart into confidence. Be less demanding, and things will start working much better.
So, I want to speak about the very particular pressure that men are often exposed to in relationships. There is a saying that the masculine energy is like the sun and the feminine energy is like the moon. And then, there is often this saying said that does the sun stop shining just because you don't appreciate it? If you shout at the sun, will it stop shining its rays for you? And the answer is obviously no. And there is, often there is a model that exists where, you say as a man, to make a woman happy, you always have to be the sun. No matter what, you never stop shining, right? So, meaning you never stop extending your care, your kindness, no matter if you get hurt, no matter if you get screamed at, no matter if you get yelled at.
I don't personally believe in this theory of sun and moon. I believe whatever you are, you be with your partner. There is no need to sign always. There are depressive moods sometimes. There are there are something very emotional sometimes you want to tell your partner, tell it. If you are facing any difficulty, come back. Don't feel you are son. Feel you are same as your wife, as your girlfriend, as your partner. Speak. Please understand you are one. There is no difference between you and her. Don't try to impress her by always shining like sun, but you always try to be as she is, as you are, and together solve your problems.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about sex. I wanted to ask you, can you explain to us how since you're a tantra master as well. I mean, you're a tantra master and you also are well versed in the field of sexual tantra. How does the energy flow between a man and a woman when they have sexual relations with each other?
What do you exactly mean? Can you just again elaborate a little?
I mean, does it come through the penis to the vagina? How does it go through the body? Who creates it? Are the two root chakras of a man and a woman when they join? Do they become more powerful? Do they start working together? I mean, I don't know at all how it works. How does an engine work? You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
this. How does the energy engine work of a man and a woman when they join? And how is it different than when a man is alone or a woman is alone?
See, the heart chakra of women gets activated, and it is being said, if you remember, that women have sex to find love, and men love to have sex. Okay. Women is always on receiver side, men are in the giving things. But when Tantra sex occurs, it is reversed in a way. Woman takes the top position usually and and takes the board as she wants. The process is a little slow. We have to understand sexuality of men and women. Women are little slow and men are always in hurry to ejaculate. You just try to reverse it. Always try to do slow sex and both of you will get pleasure of sex as much as you want and as much as it is desired. and this will make you very happy.
Okay, this is very interesting because you're basically saying all sex should be slow, right?
Human sex, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Not rabbits. Rabbits
Yes.
have to be fast. Yeah, but there are women out there who want to have sex that's hard and fast.
Do that. Do that. Do it hard and slow, long last, and do it hard. You see, that is what I said. Both of the partners has to communicate, and what they like, if they communicate, everything is very nice always. And I also, I mean, I request all the males to give control to their female counterpart and see everything becomes very nice.
It's interesting because many think that when you talk about leadership, that it means about exerting control, but really you are saying leadership is mostly giving up control.
Leaders, the true leaders is one who creates leaders. You are talking about the managers, you are talking about the administrator who are always tough, want to get their job done, and I'm talking about the leaders. Leader is one who is never worried about the control. He doesn't want anything. He is in position of giving, and he want to create more leaders like him, or more leaders like her, and there is no insecurity in this person's minds. So a leader always tells its junior or its partner, juniors in the work, partners in the family, to take, to lead. You must have seen while teaching yoga, we tell everybody, come, today is your turn, please teach. And believe me, by saying this and by making them do this, I do not lose my leadership. Rather, I feel that they start loving me more. They start feeling the respect in their heart about me more. Give the chance. Give your son a chance to lead. Give your wife a chance to lead. Give your near and dear one a chance to lead you. They will love it. And in turn, they will love you.
Very, very nice. Yes, I think that's a very, very much needed clarification between leadership and management. And it seems to be often confused, and it has been confused on some of the posts with your quotes. So thank you for that clarification. Now, I have another very burning question, right? You always say that women are more spiritual than men and that you prefer them for that reason. Why are men less spiritual? Poor us. Why are we less spiritual?
For us. You see,
And what does that even mean? And why is it that way? Doesn't that put us at a disadvantage? Because ultimately, isn't spirituality the ultimate karmic goal of every human on this earth? And we are totally at a disadvantage. Why?
you are advantages, disadvantages, profit, loss. If you are to be truly spiritual, you have to go beyond this. And yes, coming back to your question, why women are more spiritual is because they are more receptive. They want to surrender. And what is spirituality? If I do not exist and become source, I am spiritual. This quality of surrenderance, that I'm yours, is more in the woman than in the man. When men loves, you see, Spirituality is something different. You see that even love, when a man loves a woman, it says, "You are mine." And when woman loves, she says, "I'm yours." So this,
I don't know about that. I don't know about. I have heard it the other way around
okay,
also.
mostly. So, I mean, if you say, "Oh God, I'm yours," the source, please take over. And that is what a spiritual journey is. A spiritual journey is finishing myself to become source, identifying myself as source. So, and therefore, it is easier for women than men, but still, I think men has worked very hard and have become more men has become spiritual than women. That is something different. But yes, if a woman want to be spiritual, it is easier than her counterpart.
How is that different? So you say women are more spiritual, however, more men have become spiritual? Can you elaborate?
Because they must have worked, they have worked, more men has worked in this direction, and therefore they have become, they are more spiritual male people than I think female. But yes, if female starts working, they have got uh, chances to become more spiritual than their counterparts anytime.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. You know, since we're talking about men today and we're getting at the end of our show, I would like to ask you one more question. The biggest sector that exists in the internet today is the porn industry, right? Now, we all know that, I don't know, it might be 99% of the people who do watch porn are men, right? So it is a very recent movement because the internet hasn't been around for that long, and there is, you know, massive, uh, and there are groups that you can find everywhere for porn addiction, etc., etc. So it has become a real issue, right? So I guess my question is, why are men watching so much porn? Um, why are they using that energy for porn? And I guess the second question is, it harmful to them? And what's your advice to those people who are addicted to porn?
I, you see, it is definitely harmful. There is no uh, this thing. Uh, as I think I have said you that for men the pleasure is in ejaculation, and they try to ejaculate in any way possible, maybe by watching porn also. But in my opinion, I think I have discussed this with you a lot many times that natural sex is much better than any other form of the sex, and hence I am always for the natural sex. And my advice to males is that try to stop it and try to be as natural as possible. You will be able to satisfy your counterpart in much better way than doing all this.
I mean, how is it harmful to men? Can you explain? I think you were speaking about an energy exchange that happens when a man and a woman are together that kind of like rejuvenates the partners, which
Yes,
doesn't happen
yes,
when watching porn, I guess.
it
Yes.
doesn't happen here. The kind of satisfaction what you get with your partner, holding hands, holding the body, kissing each other. It's not only the male part and female part which plays a role in sexual act. It is two bodies, two spirits, two souls. They get together and be one. The kind of pleasure and happiness what you have in becoming one, you cannot have in any other alternate way of sex.
So do you feel like, and I don't know if you've done this in the past, have you given workshops for men and their sexuality and how to help them be in relationships? And do you think there would be a need for it? And if yes, what would you teach them?
There is definitely a need. I mean, what would you teach is the question when a group of people come. You see, it's not science. So every person has got a different need. But yes, men in general, they need to learn sexuality, and there is a need existing all over the world.
And what is that need exactly?
To know what they are, how they should. You see, there are men, I have met some of them, they feel that masturbating is better than the real sex, which can never be, which can never be. It's a kind of sickness, maybe, which needs to be removed from them, and they should be made to understand what pleasure the real sex has got than these alternate method of ejaculating.
And spirituality leads people there?
Spirituality leads people everywhere. The prime purpose of spirituality is to make a person blissful, and whatever is lacking in a human being, whatever is lacking in that person, remove that, move ahead till you reach bliss, and therefore it deals in everything.
So you don't think a person who reached bliss would still watch porn?
I think he will not. I mean, there are no prescribed rules, but usually, yes, he will not. You see, why you do that? Because you think that something lacks in you, and and when you reach bliss, you feel that nothing lacks in you, and therefore no outside source is required for you to get anything. So therefore, of course, when you reach bliss, it will not be required.
I think those are wonderful words at the end of our podcast and wonderful words to finish the show today. Thank you for joining us as always. I'm looking forward to more next week.
Thank you, Florian, for being here with me, and we see you next week again. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Guru Talks. Share this episode with anyone who wants to be enlightened by Guru Bhaneswaranand, and don't forget to click subscribe.